All right, so for the next theorem, we're doing theorem 6.15, 6.15. It says if you got a tangent and a secant. So here we go. First example, we got a tangent and we got a secant. The next one says if you have two tangents. There's a tangent and there's a tangent. And then the last one says if you have two secants. So here's a circle, there's a secant, and there's a secant. Luckily, the rule is the same for all three examples. Luckily, the rule is the same for all three examples. Okay? Here we go. Eyes up here. This is the outside arc. It is always going to be bigger than the inside, the smaller inside arc. Look at this one. Here is the outside arc. From here to here, it's always going to be bigger. Here is the inside smaller arc. It's always going to be smaller. And in the last example, here is the outside bigger arc, and here's the smaller inside arc. The formula is the same in all three of these. It's always going to be the bigger, we'll say outside arc, minus the smaller inside arc, divided by 2. X will always equal the bigger outside arc minus the smaller inside arc divided by 2. I'll give you a second to copy that down. Okay, so here's some examples. Can you see the smartboard? See? Change right here to the examples. Here we go. We're on the smartboard. What kind of lines do I have here in example A? What kind of lines? Is that a secant? Is that a tangent? What do I got? What's wrong, C?
He's trying to zoom in.
Yeah, and I think we have to make it darker.
Okay. Mitchell, make it darker. As director, you got to take charge, C.
Okay.
Can you see what I'm doing here?
Yes.
All right. So we're on page 213. We're doing example A, on example 3, note A. We have an outside. I'll do it in red here, 115. We've got an inside at 25. How do we find X?
115 minus 25.
We do the outside, the bigger outside number, 115, minus 25. That equals 90. Is that right? Am I done? No, I got to divide it by 2, and that equals 45, which equals X. It equals that angle right there. The bigger outside part minus the inside part. All right, let's do B here. What do we have? We have a tangent and a secant. We have an outside part, 175, and then we have a small inside part, 35. So 175 minus 35 would be 140, is that right?
Yeah.
Then we divide that by 2, and what do we get? X equals 70. Is it hard?
No.
Thank goodness all three rules, all three circles have the same rule. Thank goodness they all go together. All right, let's see if I can do one more example, because there's a tricky one. Well, let's do this one and then I'll do my example. What do you got here? We hadn't done one like this. What do you got here? What they love to do, and I'll go ahead and show you, what they love to do is they love to not give you that number. And they'll say find X. Here's X. They'll say find X. Now, how are you supposed to know that that inner part is 140? Because it's two tangents, and you know that from there to there is 220, you can subtract from 360 to know automatically that this is 140. They love giving you either that inside number or that outside number. And you've got to be smart enough to know to subtract from 360. Once you have the two numbers, it's a piece of cake. 220 minus 140 is 80. Is that right? Divided by 2 is 40. So X equals 40. Outside minus inside divided by 2. Okay? And that was my special example. Any questions?